Good morning, fellow traders at Academy 55 and everybody else who's watching the recording. David Cohen here on Tuesday, the 29th of July. It's 4 minutes to 8 in the morning here in the UK. Looking at the EUR USD Forex pair on the 1 minute time frame with Academy 55 indicators and strategy. Well, how are you all doing this morning? As we can see, the last alert was a sell. Price went into the sell zone, so we need to take the next sell. Excuse me, that's a 5 minute indicator, so we don't use those, but we were in the sell zone there. So we need to take the next sell. So we put our indicators back on, and here is that sell. So you get your short position, a minimum of 2 pips away, which is way, this is very, which is way down there. And you come off the trend line because that is the closest to the actual your point. And as you can see, well, wow, within 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes, you would indeed have got your 2%. So that was you at 25+7 today. For the rest of the remaining, this is a watching brief, as it is with for all trades taken off for educational purposes only. But as you can see, we are on a deeper sell at the moment. So let's go and take the indicators off. So look at the bigger picture, see what's going on. Well, as you can see, that's from a previous day, or last week even. So I'll get rid of all those. In actual fact, I could get rid of all the drawings, start fresh. So what do we see on the daily? Well, we got a lot of imbalance. No buying pressure this side, no buying pressure that side. So yesterday and today, they are euros coming back down. The dollar is getting stronger. Euros coming back down, big style, really. Just trying to see if there's any sort of patterns to this. Can't see one at the moment, so we'll go on the 4 hourly. Now, this is on the 4 hourly now, all these imbalanced areas need to be refilled eventually because price needs to equalize itself. Got imbalance down there. Ah, right, yeah. So we've got imbalance on this 4 hourly candle. This bit here is imbalance. What am I doing? Adding text? No, I'm not adding text. Sorry, I've got the wrong button. Get the rectangle. This area here is a 4 hourly imbalance candle. Needs to be filled at some stage. That was from last Monday, by the way. Got the wrong rectangular box. Put the right one in. It's a buy FVG, standing for fair value gap, which is the same thing. There we go. That extends the line. So price is tapping into it now, as you can see. That imbalance there because there's no selling power on that side, no selling power on that side. So maybe we are going to see price come down to this area here before indeed continuing back up again. Maybe. And we got imbalance down here also, but this could be that's far too far away for me to draw, but that's an imbalance candle as well. And we've got a little bit of imbalance here as well, so it might be even going further than that. Could be. But irrespective of that, so that's what it's doing at the moment, filling all that imbalance in, as you can see. But we've got imbalances up here that you could turn around and decide to fill out those imbalances on the way down. So we will put our line chart on the 4-hourly. Now this area here is a recent important area to look at because it stayed there for a while. Price stayed there for 4 hours actually, and then it also rested there as well. So that is an area to look at. But we have got nothing really of interest. Maybe yeah, this area here maybe. That area there, because that was resistance and resistance there as well. So that area there is important area to look at where price might get to install. Or if there's enough volume, it'll push past through it. No point going on the hourly because we are the lowest we've been for quite a while now. So we will put our candles back on, go to the 5-minute, and recognize there are no buy zones down here. There's a sell zone up there. That doesn't really tell us too much at the moment, but I'll mark it in anyway. Horizontal ray, put it on the sell zone. So when I go to the minute time frame, put our indicators back on. This is where we're at. We're eating into this imbalance on the 4-hourly that I drew earlier on. Will it consume it all? Well, it will do eventually. We know that. But we've got imbalance up here that needs to be addressed. So timing, when are they going to do that? Are they in conclusion that the dollar is getting stronger and the euro is getting so weak during the London session that we will fill out this imbalance to equalize the market, or will they stall here until New York opens? We don't know. Latest information: EUR USD euro crashes 1.3% for worst day since May. Why the sell-off after the US EU deal? Well, obviously the markets think that the deal for the EU isn't as good as they thought it was going to be. So this is the scenario for a buy, because we're waiting for the next alert will be a buy alert. So we keep a minimum of 2.2 pips away, which is Sorry, it tends to be. There we go. That's better. I don't do it on purpose to try and make it really small. And your 2% is there. So that's all we want really for the day. That'll be nice. Anticipating the wave turning green, everything else going green, and a nice buy alert. Whether we get that or not remains to be seen, but that's what we're waiting for. So in the meantime, we will just play this.
Hi, this is Steve with a very short video to show you where to get the training for the indicators and tools we use inside Academy 55. So once you're logged into the members area, you'll see in the premium dashboard this section that's entitled Start Learning. And if you click here, that'll take you through to the learning library. Now, we'll say at this point, we highly recommend you watch each of these videos 2 or 3 times to get a full understanding of how everything works. Here you'll find tutorials on using the MT4 Trade Assistant and how to use the MT4 platform with the Trade Assistant. This is the longest video you'll find inside the platform. It's around 30 minutes long, well worth your time. Watch the video once, then maybe write a few questions down that you might have for yourself and watch the video for a second time, and things will really start to make sense. By the time you watch it 3 times, you'll fully understand how everything works. So that's the longest video. It's about 30 minutes long, well worth your time. And then you can jump into individual trainings here for how to remove indicators. These videos are just a couple of minutes long. How to move MetaTrader around like you can in TradingView, Trading Assistant controls, how to do back testing in TradingView, how to draw vertical lines to mark out your hour, and so much more. And by the time you watch this video or see this video, there might be other trainings in this section. But everything here is well worth your time, and you find that, as I said a moment ago, from the main dashboard in the Start Learning section. Now, one more thing just to mention here. If you're looking for anything in particular, if you come down to the support name of FAQs, click on Get Support, and in this area you'll find a detailed FAQ section, and you can come through here. For example, if you're looking for an answer to a question about MetaTrader, have a look through these, and once you click through you'll find direct links to videos that give you answers to most of the questions that we get asked on a regular basis. So hopefully you found this useful, and back to your further training.
Yep. Thank you very much, Steve. Indeed, invaluable videos there. So this is the scenario we want for a possible trade. But at the moment, are they concentrating on getting this portion of imbalance done before climbing again, or filling out these imbalances as they go? It all depends on how the market perceives that deal done yesterday, how bad it was for the euro. Because the dollar is getting strong because of that deal. That was why the euro is getting weaker. Because if the dollar is strong, the euro is weak. If the euro is weak, the dollar is strong. Direct what they call a correlation. All right, so we're really on a big sell-off here. Okay, so London seems to concur. But so we'll draw that up again a minute. If I put it on the, take the indicators off, bit of an opportunity to show off the zones. as you can see, we had a sell zone there. So we knew to take the next sell. So if I put the time machine on there, we knew to take the next sell. So I go down to the minute, put the indicators back on. Take the next sell. Indeed, we get a sell there, look. So I get my short position tool. Come a minimum of 2.2 pips away, which is there. This time the trend line is going to be the place where you put your stop loss, because that is the nearest to the entry, 2%. So you would get in there around about there. And there we go, with ease, 2% with ease. And that's all because of waiting for price to get into the zone on the 5-minute time frame. Anyway, so that's that. Yep, do over that. And that's where we would have won that trade. But now we are waiting for the reverse. And we are on a deep sell at the minute. At the moment, there are no buy zones, but there's this massive fair value gap. Doesn't mean to say it's going to do it immediately, but we know this is all fair value gap that was drawn up on the 4-hourly, and that has eventually it's got to be eaten into anyway. And there are other fair value gaps below. So if they take advantage of a strong dollar to equalize the market today, may be the day they do that, but it might be tomorrow or even next week. But we know it's got to be done. So while we're waiting, this is the beauty about the strategy. If we don't get a trade today, we can come back later on. We only need 1 or 2 trades a day. But it's screaming to go up. And we got imbalances up here, here, and even up here, look. And all these imbalances here as well. So we'll just wait and bide our time and see what happens. If nothing happens within our time together, no problem. We will perhaps, if your lifestyle allows it, come back at a later time today or even tomorrow, because with a low monthly target, we can indeed afford to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw open the chat. If anybody's got any questions about what we've seen here today, what I've been talking about or anything like that, please write something in chat. If you're a Academy 55 member, if you're watching me on YouTube, you can actually text in the chat there as well, and I'll get to see that eventually. But I'm concentrating on the Academy 55 members in our room at the moment, but I do flip onto the YouTube channel occasionally to have a look and see if there's any questions on there. But this is where we are at the moment. See, prices at the moment, prices got to get up to here to get the parabolic side to flip it down below. All these have got to turn green with a nice buy alert. For us to be starting to be interested in a buy trade. So while we're waiting for that to happen, or if it happens, we will play this.
Hi, this is Steve, and in this short video I'm going to just show you the settings for the trade assistant to make sure that you've got the minimum 2 pip stop loss on the Euro USD or any currency pair, and how you set it for if you're trading a commodity like the US 100, because the settings are slightly different. So here you can see we're on the Euro USD chart here. I've got my risk to reward on the trade assistant locked at 2 to 1. I've got my risk balance at 1%. Lot calculator is on, and my little purple button here between the buy and sell is also activated. So we're ready to bring the trade assistant onto the chart. Now you'll notice here that we've got the stop loss set at 20. That indicates 2 pips when you're on a currency pair. And we can actually change that here by typing over it. So if I type in there 40 and just tab off here, you can see now we've got a stop loss of 4 pips because we're on a currency pair. In this example it's Euro USD, but it could be Euro GBP or any currency pair. So let's just put that back to 20 for our 2 pips. We'll click off here, and now we'll just put the lines on so that you can see that is showing us 2 pips over here on the actual tool, ready to actually get involved with a trade if that's what we were going to do. But that's not what we're here for now. I'm going to click off the lines here, and what we're going to do is we're going to change our chart from Euro USD to US 100, and I can do that by dragging it onto the screen here. You'll see it now switch over to US 100, and now you can see that stop loss says 20, and that's wrong for a commodity. So what we want to do here is come in here and type 2000. This is the equivalent of 2 pips on a commodity such as US 100. So now when I put the lines on, you'll see we've got the number 2000 here, and if I just zoom around, you'll notice the 2 to 1 still applies, 2000 and 4000 here, where we've got a $1,000 trade in place, risking $1,000 to win $2,000. So that's the number that you need to get your 2 pip minimum on. So the minimum number would be 2000. You could have anything above that if you're on a commodity like US 100, and the number will be 20, which is 2 pips equivalent if you're on a currency pair such as Euro USD. Hopefully you found this useful, and thanks very much for watching.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And now we are getting a little bit more interested. Maybe a buy might be happening. We got a green volume ribbon. The wave is still red. The trend line is still red. But indeed, what we'll do is we'll turn it over to our MC4. Put the lines on. I've already got mine at 2.2 pips. got a parabolic SAR flip. So parabolic SAR now is below price. And indeed, price is now climbing on that buy. And this area here now is where I want my stop loss, where price is right now. That's where the stop loss is going to be if we get into a trade. But I need the trend line to behave a bit more and the wave to turn green. And if price gets up here, that wave will indeed go green. But we got an area of interest here where it stopped a few times. So if anything, I'd wait for price to get above here because it could be tapping into this imbalance before indeed turning back down again. Could do, may not. But I'm going to be governed by a buy alert if we do get one. That's a bit better. See, it's tapped into that imbalance on that candle there. It's done that. We've got other imbalances up here, we know, but it doesn't have to do it right away. It might come down and fill these imbalances here and then come back up again. These waves that you see, these are called Elliott waves. And no price goes straight up or straight down all the time. It always oscillates. The oscillation is called the Elliott wave. Now that wave, we just got a tiny green wave there, as you can see. So I'm going to lock that in because that's where I want my stop loss. But like I said, well, we haven't got the buy alert yet either. So like perhaps the buy alert will come in if price gets to above this area here where it stopped 3 times, look, along this line. So I'm going to wait. The wave is already green volume, anticipating the green trend at any time, waiting for the buy alert to kick in, which it hasn't yet. And already I'm at 3.5 pips away, but it is what it is. Be very patient because it might get here and stalled again along this line and then come back down again. So you'll be glad that you weren't in the trade because obviously your stop loss will get taken. So being very patient, waiting for more confirmation of indeed that buy going indeed higher, if it is going to do that. We can govern by the buy alert. I reckon I might have about like a 5 or 6 pip stop loss by the time this buy alert comes in, but that's fine. If it does carry on like upwards, but it is what it is. See how we're stalling along this area here? It's obviously quite an important area. Stop there many times, now it's stopping there again. That's the point now where they go for a cup of coffee. Who knows? But we can actually see that. So we're just waiting for the buy alert to kick in. As soon as I got that buy alert, confirmation. And indeed, it's sticking at this area here again. Will it break it? Ah, we've got the green trend line as well now, look. So everything's green, but it's decided to stick along that area there. And then put that to there again. My stop loss in there. Waiting for a buy alert. If we get a little bit higher, I would assume the buy alert will probably come in around there if price does get above this area here. If it does, it might stall and decide to come back down again, do what it wants. So with a bit of patience, we haven't lost any money. Now we might see it actually go and create consolidation along here, which wouldn't be surprising because it happens 80% of the time. And you shouldn't be frustrated by that and just accept it as part of how this works and part of the bigger picture of how you only need 1 or 2 trades a day. And accept that's what it is. Price doesn't need to give you a buy alert and doesn't owe you any favors whatsoever. And indeed, it's coming back down now to fill all these imbalances. So thanks to the Academy 55 indicators, it kept us out of that trade. So there's another way of looking at it. Saved us money. And now all of a sudden, we're back to waiting again. Obviously, that area there is a significant area. So I'll actually draw that up. Yeah, I'll draw that up on the this area here is a significant area because it's stalled and resisted, and it did the same again. Look, and now it's coming back down again. But we're still waiting for this buy, so we got to set it up all over again. Try to resist the urge of being frustrated and just appreciate that it is what it is, and be rejoiceful in the fact that you haven't lost any money. And the Academy 55 indicators kept you out of losing money. Look for the positives. This area here also is an important area, psychological area. At the 1.5500 area. But now we are perhaps contemplating on filling out more of this imbalance that we know is down here. What I could actually do is redress that a minute and take that off, go to the 4 hourly real quick and scooch that up. So that area of imbalance has been filled down to there now because of that wick there. So indeed, and I just noticed that is still in balance. Yeah, that's correct. That is still in balance. So there we are. That's that. Right, let's get this show on the road here. And indeed, we might be getting towards. Right. Okay. So we'll put our anti-fall back on because we might be getting up to this area once again where the parabolic SARs are. And this time it flips the parabolic SAR and brings it down again. The buy alert could be in, and indeed we might get ourselves a buy trade. But at the same time, appreciating that we are actually in consolidation. But we can only act on a buy alert. And indeed, it's come back down again. But get in the habit of recognizing consolidation. Put the trading view back on again. Consolidation, recognizing that, and recognize that these things can happen. Like I say, they happen 80% of the time anyway. And don't get too frustrated because they don't owe you a trade. They don't owe you nothing. All we're doing is following the fingerprints of what price is doing by the decisions being made by investors and bankers. And we're following their decisions. But we can see lots of imbalance up here. But we have a steep purple line, the EMA 462 underneath. So there is a massive sell bias going on. And we know we've got imbalance here. Will it come to tap into this before going back up again? I've seen that happen many times. Could be. No point getting frustrated about it. It is what it is. That's why we only do like an hour. And then after the hour, you can come back later on afresh, later on today maybe, or even again tomorrow, because you've got such a low monthly target to go for. You haven't lost any money, which is the best scenario of all. and you can come back, possibly on the US 100 or the NAS 100, same thing, at 2:30 this afternoon when the volume really kicks in. Or maybe even later, 7 o'clock this evening, 6 o'clock, depending on your lifestyle. Or indeed, just like you might be thinking, oh, I've done my hour today. I haven't lost any money, which is good. Get in the habit of that. Saying to yourself, I haven't lost any money. So I live to fight again. But yeah, so it's maybe coming in to tap into this area down here again before maybe going up. We're here, we're ready to see it anyway. So just out of interest's sake, if a buy was to happen, if price, and we were in the buy already, and the price gets to this area here, I would be looking to, well, depending on the volume is at the time, if there's a volume rush and the price is going along quite well, it might be enough to break that area there. But if it's going up gingerly like it is now and it gets to that area there and we're in a buy, that area there, I'd be looking to perhaps put my stop loss to my entry, because we know price has stalled there a few times before. So it might very well might again. But now we're on this deeper sell again. So that's the way it is. Like I said, don't look at it frustratingly. Look at it as you didn't lose any money. And that's the most important thing. Keep flipping on the 5 minute momentarily, just in case a buy zone appears. Not yet, but have a look again in another minute's time when the 5 minute a new 5 minute candle will appear. You never know, there might be a buy zone appear down here. And then we got further confirmation of to take the next buy, which we would be doing anyway, but you got further confirmation then, which is good. Three, two, 1, 0. New 5 minute candle. Check to see. No, not yet. Press on the next 5 minute candle, but it doesn't make any difference. Right, so things are building again. Trend line's gone green. This is where I want my stop loss there. Bit more volumes coming in for a buy now, look. Candles are getting bigger. But again, situation hasn't changed. We're waiting for a buy alert. And also the parables are flipped from above price to below price. But all these things could happen very quickly. So it's best to be ready so you're not surprised. But now this area here, it might, again, it's got to this area here and then gone down lower again. So what I might do the same thing as it did here, go lower, go up there and go lower. We'll see. We're here just to get, right, indeed, we've got the parabolic star flip now. Got a green volume, green trend. Price does get up around here. Indeed, that'll turn green. And then we'll be waiting for the buy alert, but more consolidation. Maybe this time. Or we'll get to this area here again and then come back down again. When you see a wick below and a wick above, that is an indecision candle. So we have loads of indecision candles. Oh, okay, sorry. Right, so this is where I want my stop loss. So the waves just turned green. Waiting for the, right, we're getting a resemblance of a buy alert now. But we've got this area here, you know. We might actually get a buy now. Because the buy alert flipped on and flipped off. We want it more painted, so well, I'm going to get into the trade now. And indeed, I've got a 4 pip stop loss. But with all this momentum stuff here going on, I wouldn't be surprised if well, it's a dodgy trade, I think, in my book. But we'll see how good the because the buy alert's gone again. Oh, it's back and forth. Perhaps I should have waited for a bit more confirmation, but by doing that, as you understand, I've already got a 4 pip stop loss from stop loss to entry, but I'm accepting if I get a 1% loss. This is a very nervy sort of action here. So if I get a 1% loss on my trade, so be it. Not a problem. But we could hopefully get some volume going to get our 2%. In actual fact, I'll draw that up on my trading view. I got in there, didn't I? Four pips. There we go. That's where I am. Which then takes my 2% up to this area here. So I've got a couple of areas of interest to look at if we get that far. That being one, and also this psychological area here as well, that being another. But fully accepting a 1% loss if indeed that's what will happen. Again, I'd like to go on take the indicator off, go on the 5-minute time frame, because this is good. We got imbalance there and imbalance there. So hopefully we will get price to come and tap into these imbalances during our time when we're on this trade. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Because we recognize all this area here as consolidation. So we want to be a bit more confident having price get above this area here. But by doing that, you are sacrificing stop loss to entry. And now we're 1%, nearly 1% up and climbing. Yeah, we're just over 1%. I am, yeah. A quick reminder, all trades taken off for educational purposes only. Let's see where we are at. Right, so we've breezed past that support and resistance line. Now that could become support for us now. Maybe. It was resistance here. We might have a bit of support here. And what I mean by that, bounce off there and then carry on up. Maybe. But this area here is a psychological area. Let's see what happens. And indeed, if I'd have got in 1 pip quicker, I'd already be on my 2%. But I was waiting for it. The buy alert was kept painting on and off, if you remember. So you need that confirmation. And now indeed we are at that psychological level. Where it's 1.15500, which is there. We need a little bit more of a push. And indeed, at this juncture, I'm thinking about putting my stop loss to my entry because we are at that level there. So I've got a risk-free trade now because I'm not going to stay here and watch. Again, tapping into this imbalance here, and I'd rather save my money. And indeed, one little extra push and we're there. And indeed, at this juncture, I might actually think to myself that I'm prepared to take the trade because it's stalling. I'm going to take the trade there because I'm quite happy with what I got. So I took the trade there because again, it's stalling. So I got out of 1.5 and I'm happy with that because of what I'm seeing here, psychological level. This candle here was a prelude to a downward movement, although we've got consolidation. But it's only on the minute, and it's difficult to read candles on the lower time frames. But I'm quite happy with what I got anyway. And now I'll taking questions. If anybody got any questions, please write them in. And indeed, it looks like I would have got my 2% because we are getting above that psychological level. But I'm quite happy with what I've got. Yeah, indeed, there we go. It would have been a 2%. But being forced into watch the trade, being live with you guys, because normally, like I've always said, put the kettle on, have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever, walk away from the screen because you already made your decision. Fully accepting a 1% loss, and indeed that's what would have happened. But because I'm trading with you guys live, obviously we've got to watch the trade come in. See that candle there, that's the scenario I was fearing there. So that's why I got out there because of this. And now price could come back down now to fill out these imbalances and then indeed these ones down here. So I wasn't about to take a chance on that. Raj says, great session, Iceman. Anyway, so that's it, guys. Thanks very much for being on today. Do appreciate it. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Have yourselves a really great day. And one more in chat. Hang on. Susanna saying thanks. Yeah, thanks for being on, and I appreciate it. And have yourselves a great day. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.